it's impossible, actually, that we don't get the shiny today. I have full faith, and I'm so excited to be back here with all of my best friends. Let's get it. We're getting the shiny today, boys. I've never believed in something this much. Got some background music going. Stream looks good on YouTube and Twitch. Let's get started then. Let's get it going. How are we all feeling tonight? I'm feeling like we're getting a shiny. I'm feeling lucky, brothers. I gotta get my muscle memory back down. There's a hair on there. Oh, I don't have my little clicker ready to go today. I had all that time in my stream starting soon screen, and I still forgot about the clicker. Last stream we ended at 5,500 resets. We'll see how many we do today. At least 6,000, maybe a little more. Though I always say that, and very rarely is it truthful. Can you blame me though? I don't want to get burnt out. You know, I don't want to get bored and get annoyed playing this game. I want to have fun when I stream. I want to have fun when I play a video game. So, I don't think it's entirely unfair. Today we're listening to some chill Zelda music. We listened to Zelda music for the first time on stream a couple days ago, and it was so good. I was having such a good time. Like, I just felt like I was transcending to another realm, listening to like a lo-fi Zelda music. So we're listening to it again, almost back to back. Funnily enough. Unlucky. Let me tell you. We're literally 2 resets into the stream, less than 10 minutes into the stream, and I'm already saying unlucky. No, I think it's just unlucky that this shiny hunt has continued on past my prediction. Because my prediction was like 3,000, but that was also being way too optimistic. That was me basically praying for 3,000 resets. I realize that's not actually possible, honestly. The odds of that are just too crazy. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I want to check the YouTube stream, make sure it looks fine. How do we look on the YouTube stream? It's as good as it can be for how low quality our face cam is. Not face cam, this cam. It technically was an old face cam. I used to use this camera as my face cam, and you could not see me. I looked like a spirit, like a creature of the night. Yeah. I don't like looking back at some of those old live streams and old videos. It's very cringe how low quality the face cam was and the bitrate was. And like when I would play a video game, it was on my old computer, so I needed to play on like low settings, low everything. The graphics were terrible. Oh, you had a good snow day? You know, thankfully I did not work today, or else getting to work would have been a little treacherous. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It's not like it was a foot of snow. But I did get groceries today, and driving to the grocery store was a little slippery. That's okay. We made it back in one piece. How was your snow day? I would imagine you had a snow day today, if you're asking me about mine. Alright. My wife and I got groceries for like the next 2 weeks, just in case the snow picks up here. Because I've seen different reports. I've seen some weather reports say that there's going to be no snow in the next week. I've seen some weather reports that state it's going to snow like 3 days straight in the next week. I don't really know what to believe. So we just got a lot of groceries to be safe. Some frozen food that could, last for a while. And also, I kind of prefer to get a ton of groceries all at once so we don't have to do a grocery trip like every single week. But I feel like it's really difficult to avoid that. Like, it's difficult to not go grocery shopping once a week because not many things you'll buy are gonna still be edible after a week. Like, especially if you're trying to eat healthy, you kind of have to go grocery shopping often. Because, like, for example, we did try to buy some healthier meals this time around. Like, I'm making chicken and rice, which is like the stereotypical healthy meal. But I know that chicken's not going to last very long, so I got to cook it like tomorrow. Hello, friend. Nice consoles. Thank you. The Club Penguin DS is fire. I'm surprised you could even tell that's Club Penguin because of how terrible this camera quality is. I know I say it every stream, but like, this is a $14 camera. It's so bad. Pointing it at 4 consoles is asking a lot for this camera to show any detail. I see the lighthouse and the snowboarding dude. Yeah. That's so funny. That's so funny. Oh yeah, I have the Club Penguin DS, and then this one is a Mario Kart themed DS. Oh, Jesus. Relax. It's fine. Just turn it off. We gotta reset these consoles anyways. I accidentally opened the help menu. Oh yeah, I can't even take credit for the Club Penguin DS. I'm borrowing it from my wife's brother. I own this DS and this Game Boy. My wife's brother owns the Club Penguin DS and the blue Game Boy. Because I didn't have enough consoles to do this shiny hunt. At least not to the extent that I wanted to. Like, if I wasn't borrowing these 2 consoles on the right here, this shiny hunt would take twice as long, because we'd have only 2 games that we could play at once. Instead, we're doing things 4 times as fast, and hopefully that should result in us getting a shiny before I go mentally insane, before I have like a full psychotic break. Though some would argue I've already entered a state of psychosis, so can I really get any worse? I already had off work, so I was chilling. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. That was the one nice thing about our old job, and I do kind of miss that now that we're entering the winter months again. The one nice thing was that they would give us snow days pretty often. There wasn't like a strict requirement for 2 feet of snow being on the ground before they would call off. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed having my snow days. With my new job, there's not a thing known as a snow day. That does not exist. So, yeah. Leaves me a little worried for how getting to work might be in the upcoming months. Like, I'm worried about having to drive so far to work with like a foot of snow on the ground. I'm gonna have to leave like an hour early. Is this your first hunt? On this game, yes. I've shiny hunted in recent Pokemon games. I feel like that's not as comparable though. Like, shiny hunting in Pokemon Sword, or Brilliant Diamond, or even the newest game, Legends EA, is so much easier than shiny hunting in the older games, especially Legends EA. They made shinies practically free in Legends EA. It almost doesn't feel special to find a shiny in that game. But I have shiny hunted before. This is my first time ever shiny hunting on like a retro Pokemon game, if that makes sense. You just have 4 different Fire Red copies? Hey, It's 2 fire red and 2 leaf green. All right, I tried to diversify. You know, mix and match. I also only own 3 of these games. I own 2 fire reds and 1 leaf green. The second copy of leaf green is my wife's brother's. I'm just borrowing a lot of things from my wife's brother right now, and I appreciate him greatly for that. Like I said, it's helping me save so much more time. I mean, realistically, I think he has another copy, or no. It's my one friend, Melon Wizard, my moderator, and also an IRL friend. He has a copy that I could have borrowed, and he offered to let me borrow it. But I don't know if I would be able to play 5 systems at once. Like, maybe with a pinky finger, like stretching my hand out that way, or maybe if I stretch my hand out this way. I just don't think I'd be able to. I don't think it would be possible for me to play 5 games at once. So when my buddy offered to let me borrow his copy of Leaf Green, I considered taking him up on the offer. I actually thought about it. But I just don't think I'd be able to play 5 games efficiently. I think it would actually probably take me longer to play 5 games than 4. I don't know if it would be worth it then. Like, I don't know if the trade-off of taking more time for 5 consoles would be worth taking less time for 4. Like, mathematically, which would be more resets per hour. Like, that type of math. Because I wouldn't be able to play all 5 at once, so I'd have to split it up into, like, 3 and 2. Playing 3 at once and then 2 at once before I turn them all off again. I don't think that would be worth it. Now, if I had, like, 8 consoles, it would probably then be worth it to play 4 at once, then 4 at once, and then reset all of them. But I don't have 8 consoles, and I definitely don't have 8 copies of Fire Red and Leaf Green. Are you hard resetting them? Yeah, basically. Turning the system fully on and off again. And then you have to go through the entire opening cutscene of picking your starter Pokemon, which is so long. It's making me hate Gary and Professor Oak, because I just want them to stop talking. Please stop talking to me. I've only got 1 copy of Fire Red. Yeah, like I said, I had 3. Which, now that I think about it, I don't know why I had 3. Like, it makes sense that I had 1 copy of Fire Red and 1 copy of Leaf Green. But I don't know why I had a 3rd copy. I had 3 copies, then, like I said, my wife's brother has 1. So, it's a little excessive, but it's also not nearly as excessive as some other shiny hunters I've seen have their setup. Like, and I'm not talking about emulation either. Emulation's easy. There's a bunch of people online who shiny hunt on emulator, and yeah, with an emulator, you can run like 10 games at once. That's light work. What I'm talking about is I've seen shiny hunters who have like 10 Game Boys, and they're all plugged in to this connecting port. And from that connecting port, they have a controller that they play on the controller. I'll use this as an example. Play on the controller, and they play all 10 games at once from one controller. One controller controls all 10 games. I've seen people do that. That looks crazy. It's kind of cool, though. I've seen people hunting on 16 GameCubes. Oh my god. I could not imagine. But it definitely speeds up your process. Like, I wish I had 10 Game Boys, because that would speed this up so fast. I mean, we can do some quick math here real quick. It takes us about 2.5 to 3 hours to play 500 resets. I'll just go with the low end of that number, so I'm not exaggerating. It is 2.5 hours for every 500 resets. We've reset 5,500 times, so that's times 11. So we've already dedicated 27 hours of our life to the shiny hunt. That's over a day. That's almost embarrassing. Dude, I'm almost embarrassed to admit that. That's rough. So, yeah, 27 hours of our life has been dedicated to this shiny hunt. If I had like 10 Game Boys, it'd be less than half. It'd probably be like 10 hours. Yikes. I wish. Like I said, I wish I had 10 Game Boys. I just bought Pokemon Platinum from Japan for Christmas. I'm going to start a shiny hunt. Only run in the new year. That's what I'm doing with this game, actually. I know I don't have it in the stream title just because we haven't started the game yet, so there's kind of no point to having it in the stream title until we can actually start playing the game. Until we can leave Oak's laboratory. But no, with this game, I'm planning on doing a shiny-only playthrough. So whichever copy of these 4 games gets the shiny Charmander is the game that we're going to be playing shiny only. That's going to be the copy of either Fire Red or Leaf Green that we end up playing. I'm not going to go all out with it like, you know, some YouTubers and Twitch streamers who do content creation full time. They'll play through these games, or even the older games. They'll play through a Pokemon game and catch like 10 shinies. I'm not going to do that. I think we're going to catch 4, maybe. Because it's already taken me 27 hours to catch 1. I can't imagine how long it's going to take me to catch 4. So I'm definitely not doing more than that. But I'm going to try to beat the game with, like I said, 4 shinies. I think that's fair. And those are the only 4 Pokemon I'll be allowed to use. That would be your 5th shiny only run? Oh my god. I've only done 1 shiny only playthrough of a video game, and it was Pokemon Sword. Which, again, it was a lot easier. A lot easier to catch shinies in Pokemon Sword compared to these games, for example. So I've done a shiny only run 1 time. It was Pokemon Sword, and I don't really feel like it was anything that crazy difficult. I don't know. It doesn't feel as impressive to me as this playthrough will feel. Like, I'll be very proud of beating these games with shinies only. It'll be probably one of the best, or at least most impressive things I've done in my Pokemon career. Beating Fire Red and Leaf Green with shinies only, it's at the top of the list. Like I said, I would be very proud of that. I'm not, like, as proud of beating Pokemon Sword with shinies only. It was cool. But not something that, when I look back on, in the grand scheme of my life, is it gonna matter to me? Probably not. Not as much as this. This is something I'll be thinking about on my deathbed once we beat this game, bro. Shinies only. Oh my god. It's taken me so many hours of my life. I do have that many consoles, but not that many game copies. Yeah. We got 10 Game Boy SPs. I was collecting them back when modding was becoming a thing. That's crazy. Oh my god. I'm jealous, though. Do you have, like, some cool variants of the Game Boy SP? For example, like, this, you know, SNES-themed Game Boy SP is just a sticker. It's just a decal. It's not the actual SNES Game Boy, obviously. But, like, what I want one day, like, something that's at the top of my wish list when it comes to video game collecting, is the Groudon Game Boy SP. Now, the Kyogre and the Rayquaza one, those are cool as well. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't complain if I one day was able to own the Groudon and the Rayquaza Game Boy SP, but if I ever am able to own a legitimate copy, like an original, not a knockoff, not like a, you know, custom-made Game Boy, if I ever own an original Groudon Game Boy SP, that'll probably be the peak of my video game collecting. It's the video game item that I want the most in my collection. I just get some, like, cheap 01 and mod them to change the screen and shell Okay, yeah. I want the Rayquaza SP. They look sick. They're just so expensive, and they're so hard to find. I definitely don't blame you, though, for staying away from the rare consoles, because, like I just said, I've tried looking into what it would cost me to buy a Groudon Game Boy SP, and it's unnecessary. It's almost a disrespectful amount of money. Oopsies, I did not mean to nickname these. My Pokemon save in Gen 2 is low-key kind of crazy. See, and I respect catching 6 shinies, because then you have a full party. Like, that makes sense. It's almost like the number you should catch, minimum. Have a full party. And I admit that. I admit that, like, in a shiny only run, it's better if you have a full party. It looks cleaner. It's kind of like the standard. And I admit that I'm going to be below that standard. Subpar. But I just don't have the time to catch 6 in this game because it takes too long. So I think I'm going to settle with 4. But I respect you for getting 6. What's in your... by the way, I don't think I asked. What's in your Gen 2 save file? Now I'm curious. I'm very, very curious. I don't know if the auto mod will let you post clips in the chat. Apologies. Just because I have links turned off. I had to turn off links a long, long time ago. Back when I, like, predominantly played Minecraft. I was basically a Minecraft streamer when I first started on Twitch. And one of the negative side effects of being a Minecraft streamer is you get trolled a lot. Like, I would have people come to my chat, post, like, a link. I'd open the link, and it would just be a YouTube video of someone, like, saying the N-word. So, I had to stop that shit real quick. That's right. I've got a rare 1 in 160k, 63k, sorry, shiny Miltank. What makes it 1 in 163,000 though? Like, is it the ability it has, or I'm trying to think of what else would make it rare. I don't think gender would make it that rare. I don't think Miltank's gender. 5% Miltank at 1. Oh, the odds of finding. Okay, that makes more sense. So, just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, it's the odds of finding that shiny in, say, that field of grass, and then the odds of it being shiny. Yeah, that makes sense. The encounter rate multiplied by the shiny rate. That's crazy. See, when you said Miltank, I assumed, like, you were maybe doing eggs, hatching eggs, so you only get Miltank. Like, kind of similar to how I used to shiny hunt, where I either would hatch eggs, so I only get that Pokemon, or I would do events like kind of this Charmander, where you can pick which Pokemon you want. That way I didn't have to worry about encounter rates. I've never done a shiny hunt that had any encounter rate less than 100. But that's crazy. Because Miltank is really rare in most of the games that it appears in. 5% times 8,192, sorry. Yeah, no, that's insane. And you got 6 other shinies hunting that thing. Yeah, that sounds so lucky, but also so cool. Like, you could basically beat the entire game just with the shinies you found hunting Miltank. You got your whole squad right there. Yeah, that makes sense. See, I'm not very good at math. I'm glad you explained it to me, because I would have maybe been a little confused at first. There was a reason that I was an English major, alright, in college, because I'm not great when it comes to math. I used to be so good at math in high school. But then when I went to college and I didn't need it to graduate with English, I stopped learning it, and therefore I stopped caring. And I feel like I've lost a lot of my skills over the years. Like, in high school, I was in Calculus 2 senior year. Yeah, so that would have been the last math class I ever took, was Calc 2. And if you asked me to do a single problem or equation from calculus today, I would not be able to. I would be truthfully stumped, lost, unable to even complete the first step of the equation. But also, I'll be 100% honest, I didn't really pay much attention in calculus. In fact, I didn't even do my own homework. I copied the homework of a girl that I was flirting with at the time. So she did the homework, and then we had study hall together in, like, I think it was first period. Literally the first class of the day we had together senior year was study hall. So I would just copy her homework. Yeah. I pretty much never did my own calculus homework. Also, I took advantage of that first period study hall. Like, senior year, I did nothing at home. Did zero of my assignments at home. Because not only did I have that first period study hall, but I also had a study hall like 5th period around the middle of the day. And the reason I had 2 study halls is because by the time I got to senior year, I had already taken all of the classes I really needed to graduate. Like, I know some high schools are different and they have different prerequisites and different requirements, but my high school was pretty lenient on the requirements you needed to graduate. So as long as you weren't a dumbass, you could basically have all your requirements done by 11th grade. Like, by the time you're done your junior year, you're done. And then senior year, you only need to take the required classes. You know, you need to take your math, your science, your history, and your English in senior year. But other than that, I didn't have to take like any other classes senior year. So my senior year, yeah, like your gen eds basically, yeah. So my senior year, I had, I'm trying to remember the exact schedule. It's probably not going to be correct. It's fine. We'll estimate. My senior year, I had study hall first period. Second period, I took, I want to say second period, I took video editing. Yeah. Because I also did a lot of homework in that class. And then third period was science. Fourth period was lunch. Fifth period was study hall. Sixth period was history. Seventh period was English. Those could be back and back. I don't know. Ninth period was math. I ended my day, I think, with math. Anyways, yeah. And that worked out really nicely. Sorry. I just went on like a long tangent. I forgot I was supposed to play the game at the same time. I'm talking senior year high school. Senior high school. So in senior year of high school, I had this like dream schedule. Because like I just said, I started with study hall. In second period, I had video editing, which was a class that I was already very good at from like streaming and uploading to YouTube. Like, I knew how to edit a video. Meanwhile, most of the people in that class were beginners. So the class was basically made for beginners. It was made for people who did not know how to video edit. So I would show up to that class. We'd have a project that would take like 2 weeks for everyone else to do, but I would finish it in like 2 days. And then for the rest of the time spent on that project, for the rest of the classes allocated to that project, I would just do homework or low-key play video games on the computer. I didn't do anything in that class because I would just get my video edits done so quickly. And then third period, I had an actual class. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it was science. So I'd make sure to get my science homework done in either first or second period. Fourth period was lunch. all the seniors had lunch like really early in the day. I think we had the earliest lunch block because I went to a school with a lot of different grades. Like we're talking it was 3rd grade through 12th grade. So the seniors had the earliest lunch block. It was seniors and juniors. Seniors and juniors had lunch 4th period. Sophomore and freshman had lunch 5th period. All of the middle school had lunch 6th period. And I think all of the elementary school had lunch 6th, 7th period. Because around 7th period was middle of the day. That's the other weird thing about my school. My school started really early and it ended really early. So like it sounds kind of fucked up that the elementary school students had to wait until 7th period to eat, but 7th period was like 12 o'clock. So if anything, it was actually kind of perfect for the like younger kids to eat at 12, and it made sense that like the seniors were forced to eat at like 9 in the morning because we could kind of, eat lunch early and then have like snacks throughout the day. A lot of people would pack their own food and eat in class, whereas the elementary school students couldn't do that. And also when you're older, your eating schedule is a lot more flexible. Like forcing an elementary school student to eat at 9 a.m. would be like cruel. It would be cruel and unusual punishment. But anyways, so yeah, I then had lunch 4th period, another study hall 5th period, and in that 4th period lunch and 5th period study hall, I would just do the rest of my homework. So like, I'm not exaggerating. I would literally never do homework at home. 0 assignments senior year did I do at home. Because I had history, math, and science as my last 3. Or no, history, English, and science, sorry. No, oh my god, I'm so stupid. I'm so sorry. Let's start that sentence over, shall we? I had history, English, and math as my last 3 classes. Jesus Christ, I'm having a stroke. So, 1st and 2nd period, I'd start my homework. I'd show up to 3rd period for science class, have that homework done, lunch during 4th period, and study hall during 2nd or 5th period. Why can I not speak in a straight line right now? This is so stupid. I'm like laughing at myself because I keep messing up this easy explanation. Alright, this is the last time I'm trying to say this, and then we're moving on to a different story, because clearly something's wrong with me, and I'm giving up on this story. This is my last time trying to say this shit. 1st period, I'd study hall. 2nd period, I'd video editing. I'd do homework in those classes. I'd show up to science class 3rd period. Homework would already be done, because I did it in 1st period. I'd have lunch 4th period and study hall 5th period. And I'd just be doing homework in those classes. And I'd get it all done by the time I had history, English, and math as my last 3 classes of the day. And all my homework for those classes would have been done before I even finished my study hall 5th period. I don't know why that took me like 5 attempts to explain. Apologies. I feel like whenever I do these Shiny Hunt streams, my commentary is so bad. And I don't know if it's because I'm always doing these Shiny Hunt streams late at night, or if it's because my brain just can't comprehend playing 4 games at once and talking at the same time. I think that definitely plays a part of it, because I'm already a very average commentator when I'm playing 1 game at a time. Trying to play 4 games at a time definitely shows my flaws when it comes to commentary. I technically only needed to take 1 class my senior year of high school, but my school forced me to fill out my schedule to be there the whole day. That's almost crazier. How did you only need 1 class? I mean, like I said, every high school is different, so I guess it's believable. But even in my school I thought was very lax, compared to my wife had to have a full schedule senior year. But like my school, I only had 4 classes and 1 elective. And I technically could have had 3 study halls, 4 classes, 1 lunch. And that would have been all of my classes. But I chose to do video editing because I was already live streaming and I was already uploading to YouTube, so I just kind of wanted to refine that skill. It was interesting to me. So, like, I purposefully took 1 elective, but I didn't need to. I could have had 3 study halls. How did you only need 1 class? Also, that sucks that they forced you to fill out your schedule. Hopefully you're able to fill it out with easy stuff, like an art class or maybe gym. At least I thought gym was easy, but then again, I didn't show up to gym in like Ugg boots and a tank top. So maybe that's why it was a bit easier for me. That also sucks even harder. That's even more unlucky that they stopped forcing seniors to fill out their schedule the year after you left. That's a bummer. Gotta talk to keep sane during these kinds of things. That's true. I feel like if I just sat here in silence while playing 4 games at once, it would look psychopathic. Like, I'd imagine my wife would walk in the room, take 1 look at me, like, just deadpan, no emotion on my face, no words coming out of my mouth, and just hunched over 4 consoles, and she'd probably instantly divorce me. She'd probably just be scared. You must have had crazy credits. I guess, dude. High school for me, I did some middle college thing. So I had credits to graduate. And then I only had like 5 classes. The 6th one I helped with the school library. See, there were some people in my school who did that. And I probably should have, but I was lazy. My wife also did that, where like her senior year of her senior year of high school, she was taking college classes because she didn't need to take any more high school classes. She already got all of her high school credits. She was going to graduate. But like I said earlier, her high school forced her to like fill out her schedule. So she filled it out with college classes so she could have college credit before she even started college. And see, that's the difference between me and my wife. She's a very intellectual person with a great work ethic. Meanwhile, I'm playing 4 copies of Pokemon at once. Yeah, no, I could have done that in high school. I just was so lazy. I wanted 2 study halls and a video editing class instead. I did choir, a couple advanced classes to cover credits I needed. Interesting. I feel bad for you, though. That sucks that they forced you to fill out your schedule. I guess I didn't consider choir as an option when I was thinking about, like, easy classes you could have filled your schedule with. Because, like, when I think of music for me, it's not easy. I have no sense of rhythm. So I avoided music classes like the plague. Could have taken dance. Oh, dance would have been another relatively easy option. I ain't never heard of someone failing a dance class. That's all I'm gonna say. Never heard. Oh my god, sorry for the hiccups. I've never heard of someone failing a dance class. I just have like, dude, I have the worst hiccups right now. Feels like I'm being stabbed in the chest. Give me one moment. Oh my god. I took a big gulp of my Arizona right there. Hopefully that helps. Oh, we're behind by 1. It's supposed to be 28. Fix that. Yeah, senior year of high school is a weird time for me. The whole reason we got on this topic was because I was talking about how I flirted with this girl in senior year who was in my calculus class, and she would just let me copy her homework. I should clarify, I did not flirt with her just to get her homework. All right, I didn't do it just so I could copy your homework. It was just an added benefit. It was like a perk. But like looking back on that's so crazy because I don't think I've talked to her since high school. Like people always say that high school is a short period of your life. The people you meet and the things that happen there aren't going to be that important in the grand scheme of your life. And when you're in high school, you think they're wrong. You think they're lying to you. You think they're exaggerating. And I was the same way. When I was in high school, I felt like this is the most important time of my life ever. These are going to be the most important years in my life. And looking back, most of that shit I either don't remember or it has no impact on my current life. It affects me zero. Like, I have maybe 3 friends from high school that I still talk to regularly. We'll say 4. We'll say 4. My, like, few high school relationships I had were so insignificant in the grand scheme of my life. Though I think that's helped by the fact that I wasn't, like, knocking girls up. You know, I think if you get pregnant in high school, maybe those are a little bit more important. Those are the most important years of your life because you're fathering a child or pregnant. That's kind of important. But like me, the most I was doing was making out with girls. And back then, that felt like the peak of my romantic experience. The most important moments of my dating life ever. Like, those were my soulmates. Meanwhile, I never talked to any of those girls after high school. It's like, it literally is so true. Like, you go from your last day of senior year where everyone's signing yearbooks and talking about how they're going to stay in touch to the first day of college. I had already forgotten about my high school. I had already completely erased all those memories and I was ready to make new memories in college. And meet new girls who would also totally be the love of my life. Fun fact, that was also a lie. So true. My school did something they labeled as a senior project. I've heard of that as well, but I didn't have that at my school. I don't think my wife had that at her school, so I've only heard about it. Let me read the rest of your message to see what that's about, because I actually like don't know what that is. Kind of like I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head. Where you could shadow a job / work during the school day as long as it seemed related to what you might do in the future. Interesting. Second, I feel like these are starting to slowly slide to the left side of the screen. So I used that to cover a lot of time during the day, and the teacher I was shadowing never used me for anything, so I sat in the choir room most of the day. Interesting. So, like, what did you say you wanted to do as your profession out of school that allowed them to grant you permission for you to, like, shadow the choir teacher? I'm very curious now. How did you spin it? It reminds me of the time that I was able to spin my position at the university newspaper in college into an internship. Because at my university, everyone needed an internship to graduate, and I thought that was stupid as fuck. I refused to go work a job for free just so I could graduate college. So instead of going out and getting an actual internship, I spoke with the dean of the English department and explained to them, hey, the newspaper on campus has like 6 members. I'm one of them. If I stop writing for the newspaper, like if I have to go get an internship, I'm going to quit the newspaper because I won't have time. And if I quit the newspaper, there will be 0 people writing sports stories. And we'll go from 2 people down to 1 person writing, I think how do they label it? It was like entertainment stories, because I wrote sports and entertainment. And I basically spun it in a way to the dean of the English department, like, hey, if I have to go get an internship, I'm leaving the newspaper for the school. And if I leave the newspaper for the school, we're not going to have any sports stories in the newspaper, and it'll be half of the entertainment stories. And convince them literally in that one meeting, just one conversation, to then allow me to write for the school newspaper as an internship. Now, there were some other requirements, like I had to write a set number of articles every week, whereas before, when I was just doing it for fun, I didn't have a requirement. Some weeks I would write 2 articles, some weeks I would write 0 articles. When it became my internship, I had to write, I think it was minimum 2 a week, and some weeks I had to write 3 to hit the requirement for the semester. Like, it was a semester requirement, and when you broke that down week by week and did the math, it was like some weeks I had to do 2, some weeks I had to do 3. Oh shoot, I started naming this freaking Charmander. That's awkward. But yeah, I was able to... I also had some other things I had to do. Like, I had to make mock-ups of some graphic design work and contribute to the website that way. For example, I made a mock-up of a new logo. They didn't use the new logo, though, which made sense because we had the same logo for, like, 80 years for that newspaper. Like, the same logo since the newspaper was created. And I also came up with, like, some merch designs. Like, I made little stickers for the newspaper to kind of, like, market them around campus, because the reason there was only like 6 people writing for the newspaper is no one knew we had a newspaper. I mean, I can't blame them. I went to school during like the COVID era where everything was online anyways, but you sure as hell weren't reading your news from a physical paper. Like, if you were reading your news, you were also reading that online. But I made like little stickers and things like that to try to advertise the newspaper and get more I don't know, like I said, marketing for the newspaper out on campus. But yeah, it was honestly one of my college highs, like one of the few things in my college career I'm proud of, because I had a lot of lows. I had a lot of things that happened in college I'm not proud of. But being able to spin my position at the newspaper as an internship, and therefore not have to do a real internship where I went and worked for like a newspaper company for free. Fuck that. Yeah, I didn't have to do that. I got to avoid that waste of my time. I wanted to be a math teacher. I never knew what I wanted to do growing up, so I essentially had a math teacher as a backup in case I couldn't figure something out. And you know, that's entirely understandable. Like, I thought I wanted to be an English teacher when I first was, like, graduating high school and getting into college. And I was an English education major for the first 2 years of college. I then had one student teaching class and realized, it's not for me, dog. Like, I love teaching people things. I love, like, talking and educating people about things that I'm passionate about, and English was one of those things. But I hated working with kids. And I was even going to be a high school teacher. Like, I purposely chose high school, so I was teaching the oldest kids possible, and they still annoyed me, and I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. Love teaching, hate kids. So I switched my major. After sophomore year was over and then going into junior year, I switched my major to print journalism. Which, looking back, was maybe a mistake, because why the fuck would I pick print journalism? Like, my school had a lot of different subgenres of journalism. You could do print journalism, you could do digital journalism, you could do sports journalism. And there were even more than that. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. And my dumbass picked print journalism in a day and age where no one is reading physical newspapers or magazines. Suffice to say, I'm not working in print journalism. I am not working a job that is anywhere near my field of study. But then again, that's a lot of college kids. Most college kids get a degree and then work a job completely unrelated to that degree. Yeah, I don't think I have the patience to be a teacher now. Yeah. But I mean, if you're good at math, as you said in the chat, it makes sense that would be one of your options, one of your fields of study. Plus, I feel like with a generic math degree, you can kind of go into a lot of different fields of work. That was another issue with choosing print journalism as my degree. I kind of pigeonholed myself because you can't use that degree in a generic way. Like, you can use a business degree in a lot of different fields of work, an engineering degree in a lot of different fields of work. What am I going to use journalism in besides journalism? Oh shoot, I accidentally clicked this one too many times. Maybe I did it on purpose. We can get 69 on the clicker. Nice. It was actually an accident, but that's kind of funny the way that worked out. Yeah, kind of unlucky that I chose print journalism. I look back on that with a little bit of regret. Definitely, my parents wanted me to at least try for a mathematics degree because you can take that a lot of places. 100%, yeah. Not a bad degree to have. Yeah, I remember being so defeated after leaving college because a lot of, like, newspapers, they either start you out as an unpaid apprentice, which, as you just heard me rant about a couple minutes ago, that's insane. I'm not fucking doing that. I refuse to work for free. But it's kind of just like the standard in the journalism field is like you'll work for a newspaper for a couple months and you kind of prove yourself and almost earn your salary based off how good your writing is. That's insane, though. That's insane. I refuse to work for free. Or a lot of newspapers will start you off with a very low salary, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, one of the newspapers I looked at, granted, this was back in 2021, 2022, like, I was either looking for this job around December 21 or January 2022. So around that time. And therefore, it was like almost 4 years ago now. There was a journalism job I found that was paying you, but it was $10.50 an hour, and that's with a bachelor's degree. You're getting paid $10.50 an hour for a position that requires a degree. That's fucking insane as well. Like, you could make more working at the McDonald's. Insane. And therefore, because I didn't want to work for free as an apprentice, and because I didn't want to work for what felt like a disrespectful amount of money, $10.50 an hour, fuck that, I ended up working at an amusement park. And that's where the beginning of my Hershey Park era started. Because I started working at Hershey Park in the beginning of 2022. Right after I left college. Yeah, it is wild. So wild. Now, granted, I've heard good things from some of my friends from college. I don't have many friends from college I still talk to. But one of my buddies, who I would argue I'm the closest with, like, my best friend from college, at least, he went and got a journalism position for a very low wage to start and worked his way up and, like, proved himself with his writing. And now he has a full-time job there and he gets paid a decent amount. And I think like he's happy, and I'm glad. I'm happy for him. I knew that wasn't a guarantee. It was gonna be a lot of hard work and a lot of time spent towards a job that was paying me so little that I couldn't justify it. I'm glad he was able to do it. And I'm very like impressed by him because like I said, he's worked himself up the ladder at this newspaper from someone who started out with a very low wage to someone who's now full-time and making a good, like livable wage. But I just didn't want to do that. I don't know. I felt like it was almost risky to go work a job for a super, super low wage and hope that I could earn a better wage and climb my way up the ladder to eventually get a livable wage. Nah, I couldn't justify it. Fuck that. As I've said many times this stream, fuck that. And therefore I applied... Well, actually, I applied to work at Aldi first, because Aldi was $15 an hour, so almost $5 better than that journalism job. And Aldi denied me. Maybe the biggest blow to my ego ever. Though, one thing I've heard, both from family members who I've told this story to, and also a couple people in the chat have said the same thing. So maybe it's true. And maybe I should feel less bad about myself. Supposedly, companies like Aldi will not hire you if you're a recent college like graduate and you have almost like a future set up for yourself, because Aldi wants to hire people that are going to stay there. Like, they want to hire people that aren't going to work for 6 months and quit because they found a full-time job in their field. So maybe that's why I didn't get the job. That's like a glass half full way of looking at it. They didn't hire me because they were worried I wasn't going to be like a full-time, long-term employee. But I don't know, it's still, even though I've had a lot of people tell me that in real life, and I've even had people tell me that in the chat, it's still difficult for me to not be glass half empty and think I was not good enough for Aldi. Like I said, it's a blow to my ego. So I applied to Aldi first, and then after they rejected me, I applied to Hershey Park second. Hershey was $13 an hour, which again is still $2.50 better than that journalism job. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was insane. And that's what led to me working at Hershey for 4 years. Now, it was worth it in the end, because I started at 13, but then I got like 4 promotions, got full-time. Once I became a full-time employee, plus all the promotions I got, like, my pay went up to a more livable wage, kind of. Livable wage because I have a wife who also is making money. I feel like the amount they paid us at Hershey is not a livable wage if you're on your own, but if you're with a partner who's also working a job, or you're in an apartment with a couple other people, or if you're in like some polycule with 12 like demisexuals who are all fucking each other, then maybe you could argue that Hershey Park pays a livable wage, but it is not a livable wage if you're by yourself, if you're just living on your own. And that's why eventually I left Hershey, so I could find a better job. Now again, it was livable at the time, and it wasn't like making me financially destitute. Because I have a wife who has a good job, a much better job than I do. So like I wasn't in financial ruin working at Hershey. But at the same time, my logic was, why would I stay here and make a middling amount of money? Make like a wage that is almost, it almost felt like I was settling, you know, when I could go find a better job. So eventually we found a better job, but I enjoyed my 4 years at Hershey for the most part. It was fun, I'll say that. And I was also a huge thuzy back then, so it was right up my alley. I loved roller coasties. I loved my little amusement park rides. I think though, working in the industry kind of killed some of my roller coaster enthusiasm. I think by like the 5th time I had to clean up vomit, I had all but given up on being a thuzy. And it's almost sad to say that aloud, because like amusement parks, roller coasters, and I guess like the thuzy community was arguably the second biggest hobby in my life at the time. it was like my second biggest passion behind video games. Video games have always been number one. But like working at an amusement park quickly killed that passion. I think it didn't help that we didn't really get a livable wage, but like not getting a good pay and coming to the awareness that like if you want to make the amusement industry your field of work, you're gonna have to move up the ladder like 20 times to make a livable wage, whereas I only moved up the ladder 4 times while I was there, and therefore was still not making a paycheck that I felt was substantial enough to justify the amount of work. Not only did that kind of kill some of my passion for amusement parks, but also like cleaning up vomit, like I said, or dealing with angry guests who are yelling at you that their daughter isn't tall enough to ride a coaster. And I have to sit there and apologize when in reality, what I'm thinking in my head, what I want to say is, how the fuck am I more concerned about your child's safety than you are? Like, they're not tall enough to ride, ma'am. I don't want your daughter to fly out of this roller coaster. Sorry. Like, you're a bad parent. I wish I could report you to CYS. But instead I have to sit here and smile and nod and say apologies while you curse at me. Fucking insane. Yeah, no, like, dealing with some of that type of shit, some of the less desirable, definitely not desirable, the things that made the job less fun, obviously then made my passion for roller coasters and my, like, enthusiasm for amusement parks die off a little bit. I still like amusement parks. I would still call myself a thuzy, but it's nowhere near one of my, like, biggest hobbies now or biggest passions. Like, I'll go to an amusement park, and if I'm, say, going on vacation, I'll plan my vacation around, like, a trip to an amusement park, just to make sure that we hit one while we're, you know, away on vacation. Might as well go to a park while you're away, you know? But my enthusiasm is not as strong as it once was. For example, like, that trip my wife and I went on where we hit 9 amusement parks in 1 week. That's something I probably would never do again. I don't think I'm ever going to go to 9 amusement parks in a week again. Because just working in the amusement park industry kind of killed my passion for amusement parks. Definitely not paid enough to live solo. Yeah. It's almost like a slap in the face as well. And I don't want to talk too negatively about it because I don't want to seem shitty. How do I word this? Like, because you still work there, I don't want to come across as like someone who left the job and is now talking down about it and how much better I am after I left, and you know, how I pity those who are still there. Because there were people who worked with us, quit, and then had that exact attitude. There were a lot of people actually who quit Hershey and then would like talk down on it and like spit on the people that were still working there. And I don't want to come across as that. I'm not trying to belittle anyone that still works there. I still have a lot of friends who work there. But I will happily belittle the company because who am I but someone who loves to shit talk giant corporations and individuals that have too much money. It's my favorite hobby. Just talking shit on the rich and corporations. And I think the Hershey Corporation is shitty. The fact that we were getting paid not only below industry standard, like we could make more money doing the same positions we were working at Dorney than at Hershey. The neighboring amusement park to us was paying more than us. And we were also making below regional wages. Like, it's bad enough we're getting paid less than the industry standard, but it's worse when you can go find jobs in the same town that pay more. Easy jobs. Well, maybe not easy, but like jobs that you would get hired on the spot for. Like going and working at a gas station would pay you more than working at Hershey. That's fucking insane. That's something that always pissed me off. and was something that bothered me for so long. I think it eventually became one of the reasons I wanted to leave the job, because I just felt like I was not being appreciated enough financially, especially knowing how much that company makes. Oh my god, they love to brag to how much they make in the little town halls. But then, do any of the actual hardworking employees see that money? No. So stop fucking bragging about how much you make. It makes you look shittier. It makes you look even worse when you brag about how much money you made in the last fiscal year, and then my bonus for that fiscal year is $60. Choke on a dick. Choke on a dick and the balls. Like, fuck yourself. It all gets donated, yeah. Yeah, it's all going right into the school, you know? Totally. Nah, yeah. And again, 100% agree with what you wrote in the chat. Fuck the company, not the people. And that's how I want to come across. That's what I'm trying to convey, because I don't want to be one of those people who left the company and then like brags about how much better their life is after leaving the company. Because I don't want to make the people that are still working there, a lot of my friends who still work there, ever feel shitty. Like, I care too much about my friends to put my own ego above them. Plus, like, I still have a relatively stressful job, so I can't say my life is all sunshine and rainbows since I left. Still stressful, just making a little bit more money. Definitely no sunshine, no rainbows, no unicorns. But yeah. I don't know. There were a lot of reasons that ultimately led me to leaving that company. But I think the way I felt disrespected by the corporation, and how I felt that the corporation oftentimes was almost fake. Like, they would have so many different ways they would try to show employee appreciation, but that employee appreciation would be with, like, a gift card to the company that you're already working for. Like, we'll give you a gift card, but you got to spend that money with us. We want that money back, actually. Like, I don't know. A lot of their employee recognition just felt performative. And to me, if you really wanted to appreciate your employees, especially after having such a successful financial year, you would give people appropriate wages as a reward for such a successful financial year. But also, like, that's a lot of jobs nowadays. I feel like we live in a society... Sorry, I can never say that phrase without picturing the Joker in my brain. But, like, our culture nowadays is working for companies where your entire goal is to raise profits, make a shareholder happy, make sure the investors get the return. And then when you not only hit those profit margins, but exceed them, the employees who put in all that work don't see that excess. They don't see any of that profit back. All of the excess profit goes to those investors or those higher ups. And it's so prevalent now in, like, modern day America. I don't get very political on my stream often. This will be one of the few times you hear me say anything that even sounds slightly political, because I just think it's stupid to be political on either side of the spectrum. You're just immediately cutting half of your potential audience out and losing half of your potential viewers. Just purely from an SEO standpoint. Like, I'm not even trying to sound holier than thou. When I say I don't get political, it's not because I'm trying to sound personally better or righteous. I'm just saying it because that's fucking stupid from a marketing standpoint. I want every person of every race, religion, creed, and fucking political belief to follow me. Please follow me. I need more followers. Please, God, follow me. But this will be one of the few times I do say something political. I know for a fact that in the last 100 years of America, that the average wage has not kept up with the average price of many things that you're required to purchase throughout your life, like a car, a house, things like that. That's just fact. And it also, to me, is fact that, and I don't have numbers for this one, but it has to be a fact. I'm saying it with like 99% certainty that like 100 years ago, if a company exceeded profits, the employees were likely to see a margin of those profits. If you worked for a company and you worked really, really hard, you made the company a ton of money, you'd get some of that money back as a reward for your hard work. Whereas nowadays, that concept is deemed as like crazy. You're scoffed at for even implying such. And I don't know how we've gotten to this point as a society where corporations just have accepted that and they expect their employees to accept that. And a lot of times, what else can the employees do? Like, not like we can fucking start a revolt against the Walmart Corporation. But yeah, it to me feels like we're living in a fucking Twilight Zone. Where, like I said, 100 years ago, you put in a lot of work, you make the company a lot of money, that surplus of money would eventually get kind of sent back to you in the form of a raise or bonus. Nowadays, a corporation makes a surplus of money and they're devouring it like a dragon sitting on a pot of gold. So the CEOs, CFOs, investors, they all get some of that surplus. The employees are lucky to see a penny of it. Like, I just don't know how, as a society, we've gotten to that point where that's the norm. And it pisses me the fuck off. Also, I like how I prefaced that by saying it'd be one of the only times you'll hear a political opinion out of me. And then it's like the most lukewarm political opinion, or at least it should be the most lukewarm political opinion. But nowadays, with how much people have just accepted that as fact, and people almost want that cycle to continue, there are some people online who would consider that a hot take. There are people online who would make the argument, well, you know, the CEO is the most important position. They deserve the most money. They deserve the most of that surplus. And the investors are the ones who made the business possible. They keep the business afloat, so they deserve the most of that surplus. Fuck the regular employees. That sounds crazy, but there are people out there who genuinely think that and believe that. So that's the reason I guess gave a little political trigger warning. Because I feel like, I don't know, nowadays you have to be so careful what you say. You gotta like walk on eggshells. And that's why I don't talk about politics or economics or anything. I don't talk about anything divisive on my stream because I don't want to alienate any of my audience members. Please follow me. Whatever political ideologies you believe in, I agree. As long as it's not like Nazism. I agree. I agree with everything as long as it doesn't harm other humans. What's that? You think that we should chop down every single spruce tree on the West Coast? If you follow me, I'll say it's right. If you follow me, I'll say it's cool. No. I don't know. I think it's so weird how some streamers nowadays almost lean into the whole politics thing. Because again, why would you want to alienate so much of your audience? I want people to feel as accepted as possible in my chat. Like, I want everyone who comes into this chat to feel accepted and like happy being here. Like, it's a positive place to be and an entertaining place to be. I think entertainment's also one of my like priorities as a streamer. So just from that alone, I don't understand why some streamers lean into politics, because just going to alienate viewers. But also, I don't understand why so many streamers lean into politics when almost none of them are politically intelligent. Like, and neither are their audiences, because if you are watching a Twitch streamer for your political opinions, I think respectfully, you shouldn't be able to vote. Like, you should not be able to vote if you're getting your political ideologies off of twitch.tv or YouTube. Specifically YouTube Live. I mean, there's nothing good on there. So, like, I don't know. It just baffles me that people lean into the politics. Maybe it's a grift. I don't know. Maybe that's why streamers do it. But I just don't understand why. Like, grifting is the only answer I could justify. I can't relate to it. But also, I'm not doing streaming full time. Though, even if I did streaming full time, I wouldn't subject myself to grifting just to stay afloat. I would just make my wife work a second job. Sorry. No, like, that's honestly, it's been the nice thing about taking, like, content creation more seriously this year, while at the same time accepting that it's a hobby. I found that, like, happy medium, I think. And this is the happiest I've ever been when making, like, streams or content or doing anything online. Like, I've always been on one of the two ends of the extreme. Where, like, back in high school, when I really, really wanted to be a YouTuber, I put all of my time and energy into content. And when it failed and I saw very little success, I got so hard on myself and I was so upset about it. Because I felt like I wasn't able to, you know, have my dream job. I felt like a failure. And then when I got to college, and even a little beyond college, I kind of went the complete opposite end of the extreme. And I just treated streaming like the most casual hobby ever, to the point where some months I would go live every other day, and then other months I would go live literally 0 times in the month. Because I just didn't care. Like, oh, if streaming isn't my job, I'm just going to do it whenever I want to do it. I'm going to be super casual about it. I think now I'm in a very happy medium, a healthy medium between those two, where I care about streaming, I care about content creation. And I'm putting an appropriate amount of effort into it, but also, like, I have a full-time job that I prioritize over streaming. I have a wife that I prioritize over streaming. And I don't get, like, disappointed if my stream never blows up, or if my content never becomes a full-time job. Like, I'm not so upset about it like I was in high school. I don't feel like a failure like I did in high school, because I have an actual full-time job now. Like, I have a real job, and streaming is just a passion that I'll keep pursuing. And if one day it becomes like even a part-time job, even something that I can split with my real job, I would see that as a success. But I also see what I'm doing right now as a success anyways, because I'm feeling successful in my hobby. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting enjoyment and pride out of my hobby. I don't need to set these lofty goals, like making it my dream job. And then when that doesn't happen within the next month, I feel like a failure. Because that's a low-key how high school was for me. But also, I was a teenager. Like, I was much less mature. So it kind of makes sense that I had those crazy dreams in high school to become, like, the next best YouTuber and make it my full-time job. And when that didn't happen, I got so upset about it. I was just always feeling like a failure. And I don't anymore, which is nice. I'm not a failure anymore. I'm getting pride and enjoyment out of a hobby. And if the hobby one day is more than that, that's dope. And if it's never more than a hobby, that's also dope, because I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. And I'm also, like I said, proud of myself. I'm ugly and I'm proud. That's literally the definition of my stream right there. I'm ugly and I'm proud. I might be a $14 webcam, but at least you can still kind of see what's going on. You can still kind of make out what's happening on the stream. That's all that matters. As long as you have an idea. You just gotta wear your glasses if you want to know what's going on with the stream. Put them contacts in, baby, or else you're gonna be fucking confused. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having fun though. I've been having a lot of fun ever since I got back into streaming. Back in like, when did we pick up streaming again? It was like May, right? Because I didn't stream pretty much at all. With like, I streamed maybe once or twice between the months of January and April. And then around May of this year, I got back into streaming as like an actual hobby. And I gave myself a set schedule. I gave myself set games that I wanted to play, series that I wanted to do, challenges that I wanted to complete. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm having the time of my life. Having the time of my life, I say. As I'm 5,756 resets deep into a shiny hunt. Yay. No, it's, if anything, this shiny hunt is helping me test my patience. It's helping me learn to become a more patient man. Something I am not. That's okay, though. Oh, man. I'm tired. That's the problem with buying 2 weeks worth of groceries. It ended up being like over a 2-hour grocery trip, which it probably would have been less time at the grocery store if they had any cashiers. And I'm not trying to talk bad on the cashiers, the employees that work there. I understand that a lot of grocery stores are just leaning towards a self-checkout only environment. Like, the people at corporate in those stores must love self-checkout. I mean, they gotta love it because they're saving on labor costs, having less actual cashiers, and they're saving on time when it comes to the, I guess, little idiosyncrasies you go through when you go to a cashier and they bag everything for you and they scan everything for you. But I fucking hate self-checkout, bro. Especially because the machines nowadays are still so glitchy. We've had self-checkout machines for what feels like a decade now. Yeah, they don't have to pay anyone. Exactly. We've had self-checkout machines for what feels like a decade, and they've been especially popular. Almost like the majority option. When you go to a store, self-checkout machines are more likely to be open, and there's probably more of them than actual cashiers. And that's probably been a thing for at least the last 5 years. But regardless of that, self-checkout machines have been around for a while, over a decade now. And they're slowly becoming more and more present in stores. And yet, even though we've had them for a decade, they still fucking suck ass. Like, my least favorite thing about the self-checkout machines are the little scale they use to weigh your items to make sure that when you scan an item, you actually put it in a bag. And then the pressure plate underneath that bag weighs the item to make sure it's the correct item. You know, you're not scanning an LG TV, 70-inch widescreen, HD, flat screen, fucking 4K porn machine for a fucking can of soup. You know, they're trying to make sure they're not getting robbed, which I understand. But what I hate about these weighted pressure pads you put your groceries on is I'll have something in my cart, like what's a good example? Like a pack of spices, specifically something I was trying to buy today was one of those like taco seasoning packs. So it's just a packet of spices and taco seasoning. Those things weigh like less than a gram. So when I scan it and put it in the bag, the pressure pad doesn't detect that it's there. It thinks that I'm stealing or lying, and it shuts down the entire system. So I have to call an employee over so they can allow me access back into the self-checkout machine. Like, that's fucking stupid. That's insane. And another problem my wife and I run into is if you try to skip bagging for certain items, the machine will yell at you. So, like, for example, we bought, like, a gallon of distilled water, a gallon of milk, a gallon of tea, and we tried to scan them and then click the button that says skip bagging so we can put it just straight back in the cart. Why would we put a gallon of milk in a fucking plastic bag? That's a waste. And the second you hit skip bagging, the machine basically automatically shuts down. So an employee has to come over and confirm the item that you're skipping in the bag. And we had to do that like 7 times with this employee. Thankfully, we saved all of that stuff for the end. Saved it for last, so the employee could just stand there and approve our transaction 7 times in a row. But, like, we scanned a gallon of milk. It shut the machine down because we wanted to skip the bagging process. Scanned a gallon of water. Skipped bagging. Shuts the machine down. We scanned that gallon of tea. Skipped bagging. Shuts the machine down. We also had a giant case of, like, 48 water bottles. Scanned that. Skipped bagging. Machine shuts down. Oh my god, my wife bought a, like, 12-pack of vitamin water for her work. Skipped bagging. Machine shuts down. Like, motherfucker, what do you mean? You want us to put a 12-pack of vitamin water in a bag? Better yet, you want us to put a 48-pack of water bottles in a bag. Kill yourself. Oh my god, it pisses me off, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I will admit, and like you, I enjoy self-checkouts because I don't have to interact with people. Though the workers at my local grocery store are actually pretty nice. So I don't mind. And also, we try to have like positive interactions with them. I mean, even just the way my wife and I go about like our grocery shopping, we try to be very accommodating and helpful to the employee. Specifically, when we check out, I will put all of the items on the conveyor and my wife will bag all of them. So the only thing the employee has to do is scan them. And we do that not only to save time, but also because we're trying to like be considerate of the employee. Like, one of us is able to bag, so why don't we bag? It's shitty to make this employee bag these items if they don't have to. I don't know. I try to be very considerate of like service workers in any setting. Like, if I'm at a restaurant, I'll tip minimum 20%, and if you were a good waitress or waiter, I'll give you more. And like, I try to be as decent as I can without causing them too much of a headache. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll request certain things certain ways. Like, if I'm ordering a burger and the burger comes with pickles, I'll say that I don't want the pickles. Alright. But other than that, I try to give the employee as easy of a shift as possible, because I don't want to bother them. Like, they're already working a job that is very difficult and deals with very angry, rude, annoying people. So at the very least, I can try to be one of those people they interact with that is the opposite. Maybe improves their day. I don't know. I have that mentality so much so that, like, if I get something from a restaurant and it's not cooked properly, or maybe it's a little wrong, like I asked for mac and cheese as a side and they gave me French fries, I won't say anything about it. Because again, I want that waiter, that waitress to have a good shift. Like I don't know. I'll prioritize service workers over myself if it's acceptable. Again, like if they were to bring me out a completely different entree, something I didn't order at all, and I didn't like it, maybe I would say something. But at the same time, now I think about it, like, they could serve me a raw human foot, and I probably wouldn't send it back. Because, like, I just don't want to bother them. And I've had it happen before, even recently. Where, like, the last time my wife and I went to Texas Roadhouse, I ordered a steak medium rare, and it was, like, rare. But I didn't mind, because I don't, first off, really care. The blood doesn't scare me. Alright, I'll happily eat some blood. We on some vampire shit, boys, let me tell you. But also, like, at least it was cooked. It wasn't raw. And the last thing I want to do is bother that waitress by sending the food back. So in the same way, like when my wife and I go to the grocery store, if they have a cashier working, which today they did not, which is why we had to go through self-checkout, but if they have a cashier working, I'll put all the items on the conveyor belt. My wife will bag all the items just to, like, try to give them a little bit of a better shift, make their job a little bit easier. And there's, like, little ways you can do that as well. Like, just saying please and thank you to a service worker is already putting you above the average customer. Because so many people are so shitty. And therefore I try to offset that by being nice. Like today, after we went to the grocery store, my wife and I got McDonald's. Because we refuse to cook dinner the same day that we get groceries. Especially tonight. Like we, like I said, spent over 2 hours at the grocery store. After that, the last thing I want to do is cook dinner. So we got McDonald's on the way home. And when we went through the drive-thru, I was like super polite over the intercom, said thank you, said like sir and ma'am. When we got to the first window where they give you your receipt, I said please and thank you. And then when they gave us our food, oh my fucking god, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. I've been pressing the wrong buttons on 3 of these consoles. How did I only get it correct on 1? I was only pressing the right button on 1 console. Oh my god. But yeah, and then when we got our food from the second and final window, I said thank you and have a nice day. Because, like, I want them to at least experience some positive interaction during their shift, when I know, especially in a McDonald's drive-thru, a lot of the people they're probably interacting with are treating them either neutrally, like an NPC, or customers treat them like shit. So I might as well try to offset that as much as I can, with a smile on my face, a please, and a thank you. It sounds cringy, it sounds obvious also, but like, as someone who's worked in jobs that I would say count as like service jobs, I mean, I count working at the amusement park as a service job, because we interacted with thousands of people every day. And knowing how people treated me, how people treat us, aka like shit, like people treat us like shit at the amusement park, I don't want to continue that cycle of abuse when I go out to places that have people working in service positions. Like, if I'm going to an amusement park, I'm saying thank you every time they check my restraint. Because I know how rare that is. I know how rare it is someone actually says thank you when you check their seatbelt or their lap bar. Like, keep forgetting to increase the number on the screen. Like, the counter on the screen is falling behind the counter on this clicker because I just am forgetting to update it. I'm just updating the clicker. I apologize. Alright. We pop off. We're making pretty good time today. We're almost at 300 resets for this stream. We're under 2 hours. That's very good. My back is starting to hurt though. I hate the like angle I have to sit at to play all of these games at the same time. Because like I have to straddle the tripod here that holds this camera into place, while also hunching over and leaning in to all 4 consoles so I can see them all. I feel like I gotta stretch my back. Oh my god. I felt something pop there. Holy shit. Fuck that. Oh, that hurt. Maybe if I can move my chair up a little bit and sit back and not so much strain. I mean, I can sit back in my chair, but then I can't see all 4 consoles, so it becomes an issue of almost a paranoia that I don't want to miss the shiny. I also started working on a new Warframe dojo. I'm very happy with that. For those of you who missed the Warframe stream we did recently, it's my first time playing the game in years. And I missed it. And one of the first things I wanted to do on that stream was make a new clan. Specifically, like a clan for our community. So, I made a new clan. And therefore, I've started working on the dojo for our clan, which is basically like the hub where everyone can kind of hang out. It's been a slow process, though, because some of the rooms you're required to build in order to fully, I guess, expand your dojo and have the biggest dojo possible takes so long to build. Like right now, I'm waiting on several rooms that aren't going to be done being built until 12 hours from now. But once they're done being built, our dojo is going to be pretty sick. I'm following a little bit of a similar schematic to the last clan that I was a part of, but was not the leader of. Because in that clan, I helped build some of their dojo. And I specifically built the bottom floor, the basement of the dojo. And I think it was sick. For a basement, it was sick. Like, definitely. For a reactor basement specifically, it was sick. So I'm working on that project again. And hopefully soon we'll have a dojo in Warframe where anyone who wants to hang out can hang out. We're going to have the Minecraft realm opening up hopefully in January. So that'll be another place that we can like play games as a community. I'm thinking of maybe making a Steam group, which is like Steam's equivalent of a clan. That way, if like we ever play Steam games together, we have our own little group to play games in. Some of the things I've been trying to work on lately. The problem though is I'm giving myself way too many things to do. Like my to-do list is just growing. And it's hard to balance streaming with getting things done on the to-do list for the stream or for the community. Because I don't want to like skip a stream in order to work on off-camera stuff. But the more I push off the off-camera stuff, the more my to-do list grows and the more off-camera things I feel like I should be working on. Like, I pushed off getting my emotes made for months. It was only a couple days ago that I made new emotes, and I pretty much am done with making new emotes. I have filled out all of my emote slots except for 6 emotes. However, 4 of those 6 emotes are animated. They specifically have to be animated emotes, and I don't know how to animate an emote. Like, I could figure it out. I've made GIFs before. It's probably a very similar process to making a GIF, but I don't know how to animate an emote. So right now we have 6 emote slots open that I could fill with anything we want, but only 2 of those are emotes I know how to make, aka just a PNG or a JPEG file. Like, those are easy for me to make. But yeah, even something as simple as the emotes, I pushed off for a while. It was only a couple days ago where I finally made like 8 new emotes and filled up 8 slots that I had just not been using. I also pushed off making like the new merch for a while. But I'm glad I actually did it. I'm glad I worked on the new merch because it was so much fun. I know I ranted about it a lot yesterday, so we won't talk about it in as much detail again today, but I just have so much fun making like clothes and like designing clothes. Maybe it's one of my true callings, you know? Maybe my true calling wasn't being a thuzy and working in the amusement park industry. Maybe it was designing clothes, because I fucking love it. I think it's so much fun. But no, I've just been pushing a lot of stuff off because I'm either working or I'm streaming. I don't give myself a lot of free time where I'm able to just, you know, update like thumbnails, for example. Like, I'm so behind on my live stream thumbnails. When I first started streaming again back in May, when I returned to streaming in May, I made sure to make a thumbnail for every single live stream, both on Twitch and YouTube. So if you went to go look the VOD of that stream up, there'd be like a pretty thumbnail. And every VOD back then had a really good thumbnail. I don't think I've made a thumbnail for one of my VODs in like 2 months. Maybe longer. It's like the last 100 VODs. No, that's excessive. That's maybe exaggeratory. We'll say like the last 50 streams have not had a thumbnail, and I need to catch up on it. But I've just been pushing it off. I do like how some of the merch looks. Thanks. That honestly means a lot to me because I put a lot of time into it. And I tried to make a wide variety of things. Even things that, like, I don't necessarily love stylistically. Like, it's not my type of clothing, but I know someone else might like it. For example, the, like, Neapolitan themed shirt that's, like, white, brown, and pink for the flavors of ice cream. I don't know if I would buy that for myself, but also that's just because I don't really wear things that have pink in them. But I know other people might like that. So I try to make things that either I would wear myself or I think look nice for someone else. Like, it either has to fit my demographic or a demographic that I know would like it. And most of the designs I'm proud of. There's some that, like I said, I might get rid of just because they feel lacking. But also, maybe I'm being too hard on myself. I mean, I am my own biggest critic. But, like we talked about yesterday, the toxic shirt, I don't love it because it's not embroidered. And I don't want to sell like a shirt with just a graphic design on it. Like, I want my merch to be more than just a graphic tee. But if I did make that shirt embroidered, because it's such a big design, and it would take so much embroidering to complete, it would probably cost too much, where I wouldn't be able to sell it at a price that I feel comfortable at. And that's something I didn't talk about yesterday, actually. We can talk about something new when it comes to the merch. A topic I didn't discuss yesterday when we were talking about the merch. The money I try to make as fair and reasonable as possible. For all of those products, I'm only making like $3 to $6. It just depends on which ones. Like, for example, like, I can't think of one off the top of my head that I'm making. Or sorry, let's use the beanies as an example. I only make $3 off this beanie that I'm wearing right now. Now, something I make like $6 off of are the jerseys, because they take a little bit more work. Like, I have to customize each jersey for each person. But like for most of the products, I purposefully set the financial profit that I make almost as low as I can set it. Because I don't want to sell like a fucking t-shirt for $50. That's insane. And like, I don't need more than $3 for a shirt. Like, that's not why I made the merch. I didn't make it for profit. I made it because I thought it was fun. And I like designing clothes. But no, yeah, going back to the like designs I don't love, it's usually the designs that took the least amount of work. Because I think my brain equates less work with less skill, and therefore a less desirable product. Which isn't true. I know that's not true. But like, I'm probably gonna eventually remove that graphic tee from the shop because it's not embroidered. The graphic I made for it only took me a couple minutes, and therefore it feels like I didn't make a product that I deserve to have on my shop. Whereas like the jerseys took me a fucking long time to make, and they'll continue to even take more time because with every person that buys a jersey, I have to customize a name and number and upload a separate product with that name and that number to their, personalized request. Like that. And again, it's not correct. It's not a correct way to think about it. But that almost feels like the most impressive product I have because it's the most work I've done. And I know that work does not equate to skill, nor does it equate to like how good a product is, but it's hard for my brain not to think that way. And I realize I'm hypocritical even with my own designs. Like that toxic shirt that I said I'm not super proud of and I might remove from the store is the same toxic design that I have on this beanie. But I think the reason I'm proud of this beanie is because it's embroidered, it's good quality, and the toxic takes up a large chunk of the beanie. Whereas like on a t-shirt, the toxic is kind of just a small part of the shirt, and the rest of the shirt is blank. It feels like too much blank space almost. It feels like I'm not utilizing the design effectively or appropriately. So while it might seem hypocritical that I like love the toxic beanie, but I don't like the toxic shirt, I think it just boils down to how much work it took me and how high quality I think the product is. And honestly, the quality is a big importance for me. That's the reason why I don't really want to sell graphic tees, because they're stereotypically known to wear and stretch and the paint chips off. I have a bunch of graphic tees in my dresser right now where you can see visible like stretch marks almost, like just lines through the paint that have been stretched out and worn down. And therefore I don't really want to sell something that will ultimately look like that and have that lacking quality. It's why most of the products in my store are embroidered, even though embroidering costs more and therefore makes the prices of those products a little higher. But then the way I offset that is by setting my profit to like $3, so the product doesn't cost an insane amount. No, yeah, when I first made that merch store, it was 5 years ago, but I only had a couple designs. None of them were very good, and like almost none of them were embroidered because I wanted the merch to be as cheap as possible. And I think over the years, especially since I started buying some of my own merch, like I have a hoodie of my I have a hoodie that has one of my old designs on it, and the graphic paint design, like the graphic on that hoodie, is worn down completely. The paint is already starting to fall off. Now, granted, I've had that hoodie for a long time, and I used to wear it a lot on stream, so that probably didn't help the process of it wearing down. I probably killed it even faster than it would have normally died off because I was wearing it all the time. I would wear it in like every live stream. But I think after buying that hoodie and watching that graphic just slowly fade away and the paint chip off, I've started leaning towards, if I can help it, products that only have embroiderment on them, or like an exception is a sticker. Like, I'm okay if the sticker is just paint, you know. That's one of the few exceptions where I'll allow paint, but otherwise I try to avoid going with like painted graphic products. But yeah, no, I honestly do appreciate the compliment in the chat. It makes me feel not only like happy, but better about myself, because I am very hard on myself when it comes to my work, not just with the merch, but like my own writing, my own live streams, my YouTube videos. Like, I'm very hard on myself. It's the reason why I've written countless short stories. I've written more short stories than I could list right now on stream. But I've only published a couple short stories because I'm constantly just worried that it's not my best work, or it's not perfect, and it's not worth being put out into the world. And one of the things that's helped me be less hard on myself is have, like, my wife, who is able to tell me if she likes something or doesn't like something, and she's able to kind of be there as an unbiased figure, because I am very biased against myself. And therefore, similarly to like having my wife kind of tell me what stories she likes or what products in my merch store she likes versus does not like, and having that honesty from her, it helps kind of recalibrate. Similarly, it helps like when I have someone in the chat tell me, I like this thing is good, or like, maybe you could improve this way, I don't really like this. I appreciate that when I have people in the chat telling me that, because it then justifies, okay, this thing does suck, I should change. Or, they like this, I'm being too hard on myself. Because oftentimes, I'm not gonna know if I'm doing something well unless someone tells me, because I'm so hard on myself. And that's why it's very helpful to have like an honest chat room that doesn't glaze me all the time. That's not what I want. But I also don't want a chat that like just makes fun of me the entire time and shit talks me, which is something I try to avoid, and I pretty much put a stop to anytime someone shows up, especially because it's become such a popular trend lately where streamers almost want their chat to be mean to them because it makes good content, you know? Everyone loves a good clip farm. And people love clip farming nowadays. And while, yes, that's entertaining, I won't disagree. I'm not trying to, like, talk down to any streamer who has a bit of a more mean, rambunctious chat. It's good entertainment. It's not what I want, though. I want a chat of people that are just, like, here to have a good time, to kind of hang out, feel good, and more importantly, like, be honest with each other. And that's very helpful in me knowing, like, what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. Because if I had a chat that just glazes me 24/7, my ego would be insane, and that is not good. No one wants that. Or if I have a chat that just shit talks me the entire time, I would think I'm doing nothing right, because my brain already shit talks myself enough. Like, my brain is hard enough on itself. I don't need a chat that's also gonna be shit talking me 24/7. And I think we've cultivated a very healthy, normal chat room in this small community that we have. And because I know people are being honest with me, if they tell me they like something, I know I'm doing good. If they tell me they don't like something, I know that I should improve or change in some way. And that's good. That's the relationship I want to have with chat. Sorry to change the subject, but I just got a notification from a game I play regularly that it's no longer updating for Windows 10. Fuck Windows 11. What game? Also, that's heartbreaking. What game? That's like how... Okay, this is not anywhere near the same. Not equitable at all. But for the longest time, I was on Windows 7. I've said this multiple times on stream. I refused to update to Windows 10, and I stayed on Windows 7 for years. I stayed on Windows 7 through the entirety of Windows 8 lifespan, and then for a good chunk of Windows 10's lifespan. Like, Windows 10 had been out for a couple years, and I was still on Windows 7. However, the thing that made me ultimately upgrade to Windows 10, like the straw that broke the camel's back, was Fall Guys stopped supporting Windows 7. And in order to play Fall Guys, you had to have Windows 10. And this was back during, like, COVID, when Fall Guys was at its peak, and me and my friends were playing it every day. So I updated to Windows 10 just so I could keep playing Fall Guys, which is so embarrassing to admit. But it's true. And now I don't play Fall Guys at all anymore. I haven't touched Fall Guys in like 2 years. So maybe I should have just stayed on Windows 7 the entire time. Because also, fuck Windows 11. I hate Windows 11 more than I hate Windows 10. I agree with you. Fuck Windows 11. This shit has been pissing me off ever since I updated to it. And I purposely waited to update to it until, like, the end of the Windows 10 support lifespan. Like, I waited to update to Windows 11 until a week before they cut off Windows 10 support. I hate this shit. Even, like, little things. Small details, like quality of life stuff, I hate more. I hate the fucking taskbar in Windows 11 with all of my heart. It pisses me off. I hate the little curvy windows you have. I still haven't found a solution for that, by the way, that isn't, like, modding your windows. Hopefully y'all know what I'm talking about. When you have a window that's not full screen in Windows 11, the edges are rounded instead of being a harsh, like, 90-degree edge. The edges are rounded. That shit pisses me off, and I don't know exactly why. I think part of the reason it pisses me off is because then I can't put, like, a window in the corner of my screen without seeing a couple pixels peek through on that rounded edge. Fuck that. That's annoying. It makes me so mad. I hate Windows 11 so much, bro. The work computer's updated to Windows 11. I hate it. Yeah. It's just so frustrating. It makes me so mad. This is a classic. Classic Zelda song. You know what we need to do? We gotta play Ocarina of Time on stream. It's insane that I've never played Ocarina of Time on stream. Especially because I've beaten that game on the N64, on the 3DS, and I think we also had it on the Wii. Pretty sure my dad bought it on our family Wii as virtual console. So I've played Ocarina of Time on like 3 different systems. Maybe we'll play it on the 3DS now that we can live stream the 3DS. I think that would be a hell of a lot more fun than playing it on like the Nintendo Switch Online emulator, for example. Because that's one of the only other ways I'd be able to play it right now. I don't have the Wii anymore. And I don't have my Nintendo 64 here with me. It's at my parents' house. So my only 2 ways of playing Ocarina of Time right now would be either on my Switch with Nintendo Switch Online. And I kind of hate the way the emulation looks on Nintendo Switch Online. I only play it if I have no other choice. Or we could play Ocarina of Time 3D on my 3DS. I think that's something we'll do in the future. That's definitely something we're doing in the future. Listen, all I'm saying is getting this 3DS capture card has been one of the best purchases I've ever made for my content creation career. The 3DS capture card it makes me giddy. It makes me excited in all the right ways and all the wrong ways. Wink, wink. Yeah, I just love it. And I'm kind of down to play Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. The 3D could be fun. Besides Breath of the Wild, I don't think I've completed a Zelda game without a walkthrough. It's crazy you mention that, because I think that's kind of the same for me. Like, I can almost entirely relate to that. Most Zelda games I've needed a walkthrough to beat. Like Ocarina of Time, for example. No way in hell was I going to beat the Water Temple without a walkthrough, bro. But if I had to like go through every Zelda game I've ever played, think about which ones I've beaten without a guide, I think the answer would be like 2 or 3. Breath of the Wild's one of them. I beat the Minish Cap without a guide, but that's also a very short game. It's a very easy game. And I think I beat Oracle of Seasons without a guide. I needed a guide for Oracle of Ages, embarrassingly enough, but I did not need a guide for Oracle of Seasons. That might be it. I think those are the only 3 games I've ever beaten without a guide. Just kind of crazy to admit. I mean, though, like, some of those games require a guide. Like, the original Zelda game, you cannot beat without a guide. Like, some of the dungeons are located in the most random places where you have to, like, use a bomb on this specific statue on this specific screen, and there's never a hint in the game to tell you that. Like, you're just expected to try and blow up every statue on the map. That's insane. No. Like, I've beaten the original Zelda, but I used a guide heavy-handedly. I basically followed the guide to a T, like I was using Spark Notes for a book report. Like, I've beaten the original Zelda, but it was not on my own accord. It was none of my own work. It's insane, bro. $888. That's a fun little number. I played Majora's Mask on the 3DS and could not figure it out for the life of me. I coincidentally have not beaten Majora's Mask, but I also got a little bored of it. I also had it on the 3DS. Eventually, I just gave it to a friend, though. I think I gave it to one of my friends as like a Christmas gift, because I got kind of bored of that game. I don't know. Something about like the whole concept of playing the same 3 days over and over again just didn't really excite me much. And yeah, I ended up giving it away to a friend. It's one of the few Zelda games I've started but not finished. Now, that might sound like an obvious statement because I am notorious for starting video games and not finishing them. But Zelda is one of the few exceptions. Like, if I play a Zelda game, I almost always beat it. Like, there's only, I think, 2 games that are coming to mind that I've started but not finished. And it was Majora's Mask and what is Phantom Hourglass. I almost forgot what it was called for a second. Phantom Hourglass. I have not beaten. But, like, even though I am admittedly notorious for finishing video games, Zelda games are some of the most games I've ever beaten. Like, it is the franchise with probably the highest completion rate, percentage-wise, for me. Which is funny, because it's not even in my, like, top 5 of video game franchises. I don't know. I usually beat a Zelda game if I played it. And I've played most of them, too, which is crazy. Compare that to, like, Final Fantasy, which is one of my favorite video game franchises, unlike Zelda. I love Final Fantasy. And I've only beaten, like, 2 or 3 of them. Like, I love those games, but I never finish them. So sad to admit. I guess I have a pretty good completion rate with Pokemon. I was saying how Zelda is maybe one of the best franchises when it comes to completion rates. Pokemon might actually be the best one. Because pretty much every Pokemon game I've ever played, I've beaten. There's only one I can think of, actually. Two. Unlucky. I've never beaten Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I started that game, did not like it, and stopped. And I also have not beaten Pokemon Scarlet. Because when I started playing it, it was release day. Like, I bought that game the day it came out, started playing it, and it was so buggy and so broken that I stopped playing it. And I know they fixed most of the bugs by now, and the game's in a much more playable state, but to me, it was just unacceptable that Pokemon, the most financially, like, profitable video game franchise of all time, put out a game that broken on release. So I just quit the game, and I've always said that I was going to get back into it, especially since they fixed the bugs and they made the game run a lot better. Like, ever since they fixed the game, I said I would play it again, but I haven't yet. I keep pushing it off. And maybe it's a good thing I pushed it off, because now there's a Switch 2 version of the game, and I'm intrigued to check out what the Switch 2 version looks like. So, you know, maybe it all works out in the end. Maybe it was a good thing I pushed it off, because now I have the Switch 2, and we can play the Switch 2 version instead. Also, I no longer have a set goal for when we get the shiny. Like, I know I jokingly said the other day that my prediction for when we get the shiny is going to be 6969, 6,969 resets, and that's still my prediction. But I no longer really have, like, a goal, or, you know, I'm not wishing for a specific day we get the shiny. I do, however, have more of a kind of outline for what I would like this series to look like. And I would like to get the shiny before the new year, so we can transition to the second shiny hunt by January. That's kind of what I would hope happens. What I guess want to happen. I don't really have, you know, I don't have a set wish for when we get the shiny. I'm not gonna get my hopes up, but I would like to get the shiny before the new year, so we can start the second shiny hunt sometime in January. And that, honestly, is kind of the plan, regardless of when I get the shiny. We can get the shiny right now, and I probably wouldn't start the next shiny hunt until January. So, I guess a better way to word it is the schedule for this series isn't necessarily going to change. It's, I guess, just dependent on when we get the shiny. Because if we don't get the shiny by January, it's going to start pushing things back. Though, I'm hopeful that won't happen, because we have an entire month of grinding to hopefully find it. And by the end of this month, we would definitely be, like, in the quadruple digits. Or centuple. Centuple's the better word. The more correct word. What I'm trying to say is by the end of this month, we should be at least at 10,000 resets. Because it's December 2nd, and we're going to be at least 6,000 by the end of today. So yeah, we got lots of time. Now, I guess we should plan for the worst, and if we don't get the shiny by January, I'll just have to push off, like, the second shiny hunt, the next shiny hunt, to February. So that's fine. Everything's fine. Not gonna freak out yet. We're not even close to odds. Odds are 1 in 8,192. We're not at 8,192 yet. We're not there yet. We're still at 5,000, technically. So, I can't start getting mad quite yet. The moment we pass 8,192, though, I'm pissed. No, I think I won't actually start getting impatient and like annoyed until we hit centuple digits, until we hit 10,000. I also haven't beaten my Let's Go Pikachu. I needed a walkthrough for Diamond because I couldn't figure out Mount Cornet as a kid. See, I can't blame you, though, because I needed a walkthrough of Victory Road on Pokemon Ruby. So that was my first ever Pokemon game. I was young. I was a child, and I had no clue how to get through Victory Road. I could not figure it out. Though my version of a walkthrough, quote unquote, was having my cousin show me how to do it. Because he was playing Pokemon Sapphire at the same time. I think we might end the stream at 6,000. I was thinking of maybe doing more, but I'm getting a little tired. It also was getting a little late. And I also don't want to burn myself out. I know we've done 500 literally every single live stream except for one. So why not continue the trends? You know? And do another 500 resets tonight, and then stop. You know, I have no reason to break tradition and do anything more than 500. And also, I think 500 is kind of like the perfect number, so I don't get burnt out during these streams. Like, I have yet to actually be annoyed, nor, like, actually get impatient to the point where, like, these streams are not fun. I'm enjoying these streams. They're still very fun for me, even though it's been over 27 hours of our life. But I'm still enjoying it, and I think I'm enjoying it because we're only doing 500 at a time, and I'm not draining myself. I'm gonna drain myself in other ways. I'll hit you up tonight on Discord, brother. Sorry. Don't mind me. But no, I want to have. Sorry, I'm going back to something we talked about like 7 topics ago. But I want to have the Minecraft realm open by January. Not only because, I want to put a lot of work into it and get it open and ready to go as soon as possible, but I think January would be the perfect time where people will be in the mood to play Minecraft. Not only are a lot of my viewers probably going to be home more often while the snow is covering the streets, but also a lot of my friends, who are coincidentally your friends, aren't going to be working because Hershey Park's not open. So it's kind of the perfect time to start a server because people will actually be available to play a Minecraft server. I'm still trying to find a good plugin. I guess plugin's not the right word for Bedrock Edition. Add-on is what they're called in Bedrock Edition. Trying to find a good add-on for creative mode. Specifically, I want to find an add-on that disables the ability to, interact with other people's builds. Because the last thing I want is someone to come into the creative mode server and just destroy everyone's builds. Basically, like a way to claim land, so you're the only person who can build on that plot of land. That's my ideal. And I haven't done a ton of research into it yet, so it probably exists. But with what little research I have done to find an add-on that can accomplish that goal, I haven't had any success yet. I haven't found an add-on that can do that yet. But like I said, I've only done a little bit of research for like an hour. I should probably look into it a bit more before I give up. But ideally, the way the realm's going to work, and I know we've already talked about this before, but I'm just saying it again, in case anyone's watching for the first time ever and they haven't even heard about this Minecraft realm. Just to repeat, there's going to be a survival world, which will be practically anarchy. Like, there's not going to be many rules, because I acknowledge the fact that with a public server where anyone from the chat with enough viewer points can join, and therefore because anyone from the public can join, I have to almost accept that there's going to be a little bit of trolling, a little bit of griefing. So for the survival server, there aren't going to be many rules. For the creative realm, world in the realm, that one, like I said, I would like everyone to kind of get like a plot of land they can claim, and then we can all build our own chunk of land. Everyone gets like a chunk they're allowed to build in, and we create like our own little city, our own creative world that has its unique kind of aesthetic. And then finally, the last of the 3 worlds on the realm is going to be an adventure world that I am currently working on right now. I'm making some of the levels for it. It's going to be very reminiscent of Mario 64, where you walk through a painting and it teleports you to a level. And the plan is to have 8 worlds with 8 levels. So that would be 64 levels, right? Yeah. So there's going to be 64 levels to play, but I'm not going to roll them out all at once, because I fear if I did that, people would log in one day, beat all 64 levels in one day, and then never play the adventure world on the realm again. So I'm going to release them 8 levels at a time, about every 2 to 3 weeks. So I'll basically be releasing one world at a time for 2 to 3 weeks. And hopefully that kind of slower drip feeding of the adventure map to people will keep the server active, and it won't fall into the stereotypical trap that is the 2-week Minecraft phase. It won't run into that pitfall, hopefully. We'll see, though. But the adventure map I'm still working on, so that's why I'm pushing the server off till January. I would ideally love to open it right now, because I want to have more games that we can play as a community. But the Minecraft realm is getting pushed off to January just so I can finish building the adventure map. And also so I can find something good for the creative map. A good add-on. Oh boy. I'll be there. That's what I love to hear, brother. That's what I like to hear, brother. That's how you put a smile on my face, let me tell you. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot that I want to work on in between streams and during some of my days off. I just need to prioritize like what I should be working on first. Like, the thumbnails for my live streams are maybe not the highest priority. Live streams don't need thumbnails because very rarely are people ever clicking on them after the stream's over. I just like having thumbnails on my live streams so they look prettier. But I don't need thumbnails, so that's like low priority. Something that's like high priority that I want to work on is updating the Discord server so it's a little less basic. I'm slowly doing that. I've been slowly adding channels and taking away channels. So the Discord is far more organized, but it's a process that's nowhere near complete. Like, I only just recently added the admin channels, which is embarrassing to admit. But that's high priority. Another high priority thing is making the Steam group. Just so we have a place on Steam where we can kind of communicate. I made the Warframe clan the other day, so we have that clan going. We'll see. You know what I should do? I should take my to-do list and like order it from highest priority, lowest priority. Actually rank my to-do lists in order of importance. Okay. We have 12 resets left. 12 left, brothers. What time is it right now? Oh my god, it's past midnight. Yikes. I knew I was starting the stream late tonight, but I did not plan on it being this late. Like I said, I blame it on the fact that my wife and I spent over 2 hours at the grocery store today because we bought like 15 days of food. It was a long grocery trip. Like, one of the longest times I've ever spent in a grocery store. And I think the next time we go back to the grocery store, we're probably going to buy another, like, 2 weeks worth of food. Just so it covers us for the rest of the holiday season. And I'm dreading going back to the grocery store for that trip. I just hate the grocery store. Hot take, I know. It's like purgatory, bro. It's like the back rooms. Fuck the grocery store. I know tonight's stream we said a lot of like, fuck this, fuck that. Fuck the grocery store. For real, though. Shoot, I accidentally named the Charmander. Stop. No, don't nickname Charmander, please. Such a waste of my time. Alright, I know I say it every stream. And if anything, by saying it every stream, I'm just jinxing it and preventing it from actually happening. But I'm going to say it again. It would be really cool if we get a shiny Charmander at the end of the stream. It would be like the perfect way to end a live stream. And we have 10 resets left. Final 10 resets of the night. So if any time there is to get a shiny, this is the best time. The best time to get a shiny is like in the last 10 resets of the stream or the first 10 resets of the stream. So I'm not saying we're getting the shiny right now, but we're getting the shiny right now. It's happening, brothers. I need y'all to believe the way I believe. And I believe with my whole heart. My heart is full of love and joy and optimism. That's okay, we got 9 resets left. 9 more opportunities. What's funny is, like, I'm not playing it up for the camera. Like, towards the end of every stream, I start actually believing and, like, gaslighting myself into thinking we're gonna get the shiny. Like, I fully believe it right now. No exaggeration. Every reset, I'm, like, leaning into the screen closer and closer because I just so confident we're gonna get it. Have the utmost confidence, brothers. We're definitely gonna get it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. No doubt. Nothing's gonna stop us. I'm also very excited for the next shiny hunt. Like, I'm more excited for the next shiny hunt than I am for this shiny. And I love shiny Charmander, but I'm excited for the next shiny hunt. Not only because it's going to be way easier, the easiest shiny hunt you can do in this game, actually. But we're also going to have a different stream layout that'll look a lot prettier. It'll look a lot better. And I'm excited for that as well, because I want to update the stream and improve the stream. We're just going to have to ditch one of the consoles, which is fine. We'll be we'll be shiny hunting on 3 consoles instead of 4. But one of those 3 consoles we'll use our capture card on. So we'll have actual screen capped footage on the live stream. And then the shitty $14 webcam will only be pointed at 2 consoles. And the reason I have to ditch a console is because I won't have enough hands to play on the capture card and on this camera. Like, one hand is going to be on the controller for the capture card, and one hand is going to be used for 2 consoles. But the 4th console, sadly, is going to get tossed to the side. But that's okay. I think it's worth it just so the stream looks a little bit better, and we have at least one game being screen recorded with the capture card. So at least one game has good quality footage. And I'd rather that. I would much rather that than playing on 4 consoles with low quality footage. So yeah, I'm super, super excited for the next shiny hunt. Six resets left. I believe. Listen. I've never believed more than right now. Alright, Gary. Come grab your shitty little Squirtle. Thanks, Gary. Five resets left. When I was younger, I would name my rival in Pokemon games not to, like, someone I hated in real life. Like, I wouldn't name my rival in a Pokemon game to my bully. I would name the rival in my Pokemon game to, like, someone that annoyed me. Like a kid that I found weird or annoying. Which I don't know what that says about me. But like instead of naming my rival after someone who made fun of me and made my life hell at school, I named my rival after like a kid that annoyed me that I found to be insufferable. I think it made me want to beat them more. It made me hate them more. Cause like sure, make fun of me, but that's like that's an easy target, you know? That's not impressive. You're not doing anything groundbreaking by bullying me. But if you're someone that I find insufferable, that's rare. That is impressive. And therefore, I guess by that logic, I would name my rivals in Pokemon after those types of people growing up. How many resets do we have left? 4. This being one of the 4. I have so much faith, let me tell you. Ducks. 3 left. Close out strong here, boys. I'm gonna close out this live stream with the utmost confidence, utmost positivity. Oh, man. I'm definitely tired, though. Before I go to bed, though, I gotta check my Warframe account and see if any of those crafts that I started are done. Because, like I said, some of the crafting items that I was working on take like 12 hours to craft. I want to see if they are done yet. Because I want to keep working. Keep leveling things up in that regard. 2 resets left. I also need to convince more people to play Warframe. Now, I'm not gonna go too out of my way to convince people to play Warframe, especially if you've never played before. But I want to try to convince more people that are either in the chat or friends to play Warframe. Because I know, like, Emily used to play Warframe. Maybe I can get her back into it. There was at one point I played with Emily and someone else. I don't remember who. I don't think it was Luke. It was me, Emily, maybe Zach? I don't know. I know there was more than just Emily that played back in the day. Maybe I can convince her to play again. Alright, boys. Last reset of the night. What do you think the odds are that we get the shiny on the last reset of the night? Now, statistically, the odds are 1 in 8,192. But, like, let's be honest with ourselves. I think the odds, 50-50. Sorry. I think it's flip of a coin that we get the shiny right now. I have full faith. This was a pretty efficient stream, though. We did 500 resets in 2 hours, 40 minutes. That's rare for me. I'm usually making mistakes, or I'm just going very, very slow. Unlucky. We didn't get the coin flip. We did not get the coin flip, and we are officially at 6,000 resets for this shiny hunt. Holy, that sounds crazy to say out loud. But it's not too bad if you consider the fact that we've been playing on 4 devices. It's technically only 1,500 resets each. Only 1,500 times I've had to do this. But when you multiply by 4 and say the number 6,000 out loud, that's a yikes. Yeah, unlucky. No shiny today. We'll keep going. Next stream, we'll probably do another 500. And then the stream after that, we'll probably get the shiny. Because I predict, and I'm saying this with almost sincerity, I can almost prove it to you. All right, I can guarantee you that we're gonna get the shiny on 6969. We just gotta wait 2 more streams. That's why the shiny didn't show up this stream, because it's waiting for 6969. Give it up for Reset 6000. Yeah, yikes. Anyways, I think we're gonna head out here. I appreciate everyone who showed up in the chat, especially you, brother Brandon, who stayed in the chat the entire time. Honestly keeps these streams much more tolerable, and it keeps my sanity having someone to talk to. But I appreciate everyone that showed up. Means a lot. And I will see you all tomorrow with some Stardew Valley. So, look forward to that. Otherwise, have a wonderful night. Get some rest, boys. And see you all then. Peace out.